Star Trek's most fearsome weapon just got a massive upgrade, threatening to rewrite its entire universe. Star Trek's ultimate superweapon just got a massive upgrade, one that threatens to reshape the universe. Introduced during the epic Day of Blood event, the Bajoran Orb of Destruction played a huge role in the crossover before falling into Lore's hands. The android has sinister plans for the orb, plans that are slowly coming into focus. In Star Trek #24, the orb gets a terrifying upgrade. Star Trek #24 is written by Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly and drawn by Megan Levens. The issue opens with a text piece made to resemble a journal entry by the Klingon mad scientist Korath. Korath entered Lore's service shortly after the latter obtained the orb and began tampering with it. Korath increased its anti-tachyon output, making it more powerful. Ominously, Korath describes the orb's effects as like a virus that can destroy and rewrite reality. Korath concludes that whoever possesses the orb would be godlike. The Bajoran orbs are some of Star Trek's most mysterious objects. The Bajoran orbs, the first of which was introduced in Star Trek Deep Space Nine's premiere episode, are objects of great power sent to the Bajoran people by the Prophets. The Prophets, non-linear aliens who reside in the wormhole, are venerated by the Bajoran people. Deep Space Nine established there were several orbs, but only a few made it to the screen. The Orb of Destruction, introduced in 2023's Star Trek #5, became the touchstone for Kala's campaign of genocide against the gods, as detailed in the aforementioned Day of Blood. Day of Blood, first published by IDW in 2023, was the culmination of a year's worth of buildup. Kala was defeated in his crusade against the galaxy's godlike beings, and his red path was left in shambles. Lore took over its remnants and absconded with the Orb of Destruction. In Star Trek #23, Lore used the Orb of Destruction to eradicate the gods and destroy their home dimension of the Pleroma. IDW has announced the Lore War, a massive crossover event coming in early 2025 that will see Lore rewrite reality in his image. The Orb of Destruction, which became the tool of Lore's vengeance, bears more than a passing resemblance to another powerful Star Trek weapon, the Genesis device. Introduced in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, this piece of technology could create life from death. When detonated, the Genesis device essentially restructures matter around it at the subatomic level, in theory creating life. Needless to say, the Genesis device became a flashpoint for controversy, and research into it was abandoned by ethical scientists. A newer model, christened Genesis 2, was seen in Picard's third season. The Bajoran Orb of Destruction has arrived to destroy the Star Trek universe, putting it in a class beyond the Genesis device. While the two work on the same principle, the orb is functioning on a much larger scale, the entire universe. Despite their similar nihilistic goals, Lore sees the bigger picture. Kala's crusade against the gods was motivated by hubris and pride, but Lore is much smarter and more ambitious than that. Lore saw the potential in the Bajoran Orb of Destruction and gave it an upgrade that could potentially destroy the Star Trek universe. For decades, Star Trek has been a franchise defined by its exploration of new worlds, bold missions of peace, and a deep, philosophical contemplation of humanity's future. But beneath the shining veneer of hope and utopia lurked a darker reality, the power of the Federation's weapons. Among the most iconic and terrifying of these is the phaser, the energy-based weapon that can disintegrate foes, incapacitate or destroy ships, and deliver devastating blows across the galaxy. However, in recent developments within the Star Trek universe, this seemingly standard tool of war has received a massive upgrade, one so powerful it threatens to rewrite the very fabric of the universe itself. The phaser, in its original form, was a controlled and efficient tool. It has been used to settle conflicts, defend ships, and act as a deterrent against hostile alien forces. Whether wielded by Starfleet officers in their handheld forms or deployed from starships, it had been carefully designed to allow for a balance of power capable of disintegrating a target or stunning it at lower intensities. Yet, in the hands of Starfleet's most brilliant minds, and with the advent of newer technologies, the phaser has evolved, and its latest form has far outgrown its original purpose. This latest evolution, first hinted at in the experimental lab on the USS Discovery, is known as the quantum phaser. It's not just another iteration of energy-based weaponry. The quantum phaser can manipulate space-time itself, allowing it to destabilize the very laws of physics that govern the universe. This is no longer just about destruction in the conventional sense. This is about reshaping reality at a fundamental level. Imagine a weapon that, with a single shot, can destabilize the gravitational pull of a planet, unravel the fabric of space-time around an enemy fleet, or even collapse entire star systems into black holes. The implications of the quantum phaser are terrifying, not just because of its raw power, but because of its unpredictability. With its newfound ability to interact with quantum fields and manipulate subatomic particles, the weapon could tear through the quantum fabric that underpins the universe itself. The universe, which has long been seen as a nearly unbreakable system of rules, might no longer be as rigid as once believed. What was once considered impossible, altering the speed of light, bending time itself, or creating temporal paradoxes, may now be within reach of the Federation, and more alarmingly, its enemies. One of the most immediate consequences of the quantum phaser's power is its potential to disrupt the timeline. In Star Trek, the timeline has always been a fragile thing. Time travel has been a crucial aspect of the franchise since the 1960s, with episodes like The City on the Edge of Forever establishing the devastating impact that even the smallest alterations can have on the universe. With the quantum phaser, Starfleet could potentially rewrite history as easily as they would reprogram a computer. A single misfire, a single alteration of time, could unmake entire civilizations, create paradoxes that collapse realities, or leave the future in a state of perpetual flux. The ethics of wielding such a weapon are murky, and the Federation, long seen as the embodiment of peace, diplomacy, and hope, finds itself at a crossroads. Should a weapon with such far-reaching consequences even be used in a universe that has, up to this point, clung to the principles of non-violence and mutual respect? While Starfleet has always been able to walk the tightrope of diplomacy and defense, this weapon challenges the very foundation of what it means to be a member of the United Federation of Planets. Can peace be truly achieved through a weapon that, in the wrong hands, could erase it? Meanwhile, the quantum phaser has not gone unnoticed by the Federation's enemies. The Romulans, Klingons, and even the Borg, each with their own agendas, are no doubt eyeing the newly developed weapon, considering what it could mean for their respective empires. The implications for the galaxy's political balance are undeniable. Would the threat of such a weapon spark a new arms race? Or would the presence of the quantum phaser lead to a greater form of galactic peace, where all factions are forced to come to the negotiating table in the face of such overwhelming power? As tensions rise, and as Starfleet's own moral compass begins to question whether the quantum phaser is a step too far, the stakes have never been higher. It's a weapon that not only threatens to obliterate enemies, but the very space-time continuum itself. And in this uncharted territory, the crew of the USS Discovery, and by extension the Federation, must grapple with a question that has haunted humanity for millennia. How much power is too much power? And in the face of such a devastating weapon, can peace still be achieved? The quantum phaser stands as a monumental shift in Star Trek's legacy. A universe once defined by hope and exploration now finds itself on the precipice of an era where that very hope could be undone in an instant. The lines between science and philosophy, between diplomacy and warfare, are becoming dangerously blurred. The journey ahead is uncertain, and the fate of the universe itself may hang in the balance. The lines between science and philosophy, between diplomacy and warfare, are becoming dangerously blurred. The journey ahead is uncertain, and the fate of the universe itself may hang in the balance.